So today's video is going to talk about why isn't the rehabilitated button available for successful closure when I try to close out a client. And there are some common reasons why that is the case, and that's what we'll go over today. So I'm going to toggle to a Word document cheat sheet that I'm going to put on the BRS beacon, and it just talks about common reasons why the rehabilitated button is missing. So I'll go through that and then I'll show a demo in a test environment for you visual people. Um, so the first one is the case must be in employed status. So if you have a case that is not in employed status, it means you are missing the stable date in the employment record. Otherwise, say someone gets a job and you put them in, you start the employment record and you put the start date of their employment in there. Um, they're not stable. Like you're not sure that if they still may need services or any other types of support. So you forget to put in the stable date. And the stable date in the employment record is what starts the 90-day clock towards a rehabilitated or successful closure. Um, so that leads me into the second one. You have to be in that employed status for 90 days. And the way that you can check that is you can open the closure activity due and locate the due date. Um, this is a date when your case is eligible for successful closure. Um, and I put here that the activity due closure reminder can be confusing because that comes before your case is actually eligible for successful closure. So make sure you open it up and look at that due date and don't think just because you got the reminder the case is actually eligible for that successful closure. Yeah, again, it's confusing. And the last big one I see is that the client's um, employment goal in the IPE does not match the job title in the employment record. Like that can happen all the time. You got a plan and you put in a generic general IPE goal. Your client gets a job and it doesn't match. That job title doesn't match that generic IPE goal that you put in. Aware is not going to produce that rehabilitated button. So it's a pain, but oftentimes you need to get an updated IPE. I used to just tell my clients, hey, this is a formality. You got a job that's different than what's on your plan. We just need to update your plan and I need to get a signature. Or in some instances, it may be appropriate to change the job title in the employment record to match the original plan goal. So we'll go through some of these in the test environment. So let me pull up my Aware screen. So I'm in a client case, Stan BRS, and I see that there is an activity due. Well, before I get into that, let's confirm that we are in fact in employed status. And I have my case status listed at the top. I think that's probably a good idea for folks to have that. Um, and the reason why it's an employed status is I'm going to open up the employment record, and you'll see I have a start date and a stable date. Say I remove this, it's going to revert my case back to service E, which means service employed, but they're not yet stable on the job. So let me go back and put that stable date in there. 7/15/25, finish. Telling me it's putting it back in employed status. And the next one is I've got this activity due closure. I always used to think that this meant, oh, I can close my case. Not so fast. You need to open up this activity due and look at the due date. So this case is eligible for successful closure on 10/13. As you can see, it's only October 7th. So this case isn't eligible for successful closure or rehabilitated until 6 days from now. So it's a good habit to get into, just to double check. The last piece is that your employment goal, first line supervisors of helpers, laborers, and material movers does not match the job title in the employment record. In this instance, they do match, so this wouldn't be a barrier for me to close. In this example, it's just that the due date's not, the 90-day mark hasn't hit yet, and that will be in 6 days. So if these don't match, either go into your employment record, if appropriate, and update the job title to match what's on the IPE, or more of a pain, but I had to do this all the time. When I was a counselor, I had to get a new employment record set up, and I had to change the employment goal to the actual job that the participant got, so that you can clone the plan and just put in whatever services, and then you'd have to get a signature. But those are the three main reasons why you don't have that rehabilitated button at the time of closure. Thank you very much.